that you don't need to care about what people think, because honestly, I am happier at the end of the day when I have lived my life throughout that day, that specific day, whatever it is I'm doing. I am asking myself, like, am I safe? Am I happy? Am I finding joy in this moment? And if I'm able to answer those questions, I've had a good day.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the What You Don't Hear podcast. I'm your host. My name is Ross Theisen. I'm a creative director, a filmmaker, a doer of probably too many things, and of course, one of those things, in this case, is a podcaster. So, if you're new around here, what I do on the show is I sit down with my guests, I take a bit of an open journal dive into their lives, talking about a little bit of everything, all the ups, all the downs, all the thoughts and feelings in between, with the goal of getting to know them better, maybe sometimes helping them get to know themselves a little better, and just uncover what makes them who they are, as we dig into the sides of their story that nobody would otherwise get to hear. So I will introduce this week's guest in just a second, but I've got some sponsorships and cool shows to tell you about, because this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Promo West Productions. The gigs have returned. So there's shows happening here in Columbus again, and it's starting to get warm out now. Shows are popping up left and right. Things are on the up and up. So if you're interested in catching a live show, you can check out one of the following upcoming at Kemba Live, of course, brought to you by Promo West Productions. We've got Bright Eyes on April 3rd, The Revivalists on April 5th, Clutch on May 8th, you might see me at that one, Disclosure on May 10th. So, of course, to purchase tickets, you can visit axs.com, or for more info about these shows or any other ones, because I know I just listed you April and May, and on the past episodes, I told you all about March and a little bit of April. So if you feel like you're missing out on any shows, you want to know what else is going on, or any further info on the ones I just told you about, visit promowestlive.com, and all the info that you're going to need is right there. But all the info that you're going to need about this week's episode is about to be shared, well, by me in a few seconds. And by that, I mean right now. So this week on the show, I have one of the wonderfully talented artists from right here in 400 West Rich on the show. And her name is Lauren Ashleigh Benjamin. Now, ever since I joined the 400 West community back in 2021, I'd honestly been wanting to start to get to know, all the other creative minds and artists that call this place home. And I'm finally starting to make that happen, and it kicks off with this fun conversation with Lauren as I get to know her and her story for the very first time. We talk about a ton of different things, so let's just dive in. So here it is, episode 54 of What You Don't Hear. Cool. Look at this.
ASMR. It's like I'm ready to do ASMR.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, this is just live streaming on Twitch, actually, is what this is doing. So
hopefully that's not any offense to you. This is new to me. I'm just
no, not at all. I cannot say that I partake in listening to ASMR or anything like that.
It just comes up on my TikTok, and I'm like, I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's like someone crunching their food or something.
Or just like whisper. I don't want to. I don't even like.
Oh no!
I don't even like hearing myself do it.
I think we are set. Are you ready to make a podcast?
Yes, I am.
First podcast ever.
Yes.
And if at any point it gets so boring, or you're like, dude, this sucks.
I don't think it will be.
You can just bail on it if you want. I haven't had anybody bail on me so far, but if you just want to bail and you're like, dude, honestly, I regret saying yes to doing this.
I just, by the looks of the space already, I feel like I won't be leaving it.
Sick. Perfect. Okay. As long as if the aesthetic can keep someone here.
It already is keeping me here.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Well, let me make it official. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I am excited to make this happen. We are meeting for the very first time.
Correct. Yes.
This is your very first podcast.
It is.
I was so stoked when I reached out and we originally talked about this, and you were like, I literally have been wanting to do one.
So this was like a weird manifestation type thing, which I have never, not that I haven't partaken in manifesting anything, but I feel like my mindset towards a podcast changed at the beginning of the year, and I'm like, it has to happen. And I spoke it and I wrote it down, and literally like a day or two after, you said, hello, I'm Ross. And I'm like, I guess I have to say yes.
I love it.
So yeah, and it works out great. I feel like it's a great fit. Great fit.
Well, you got the
and
memo.
Mustard cardigans.
So I love it. We got the curly hair and the cardigans
Yes.
down, so we're set on that. What was it you said your like mindset changed on podcasts? Was it just like something that you were like, oh man, I don't know if I could do that? Or are you like not a podcast listener? Or
I love and appreciate podcasts. I definitely don't listen to them as much as a lot of my friends do, but I'll ask for suggestions all the time just because I love listening to things. I will just more so listen to music than people talking.
Right.
But I feel like the older I get, the more I appreciate things like podcasts because I'm learning a lot more by just having something on in the background. So
Right.
that's part of my mindset that's changed. And but for myself, more so, I've been asked multiple times in the past to do interviews for TV, for the news, for other podcasts, and I've always said no, mainly out of fear. So that's something that's changed, is like I don't have as much fear talking about the real stuff. And so what's funny is your podcast is called What You Don't Hear, so it's like, well, oh, yep, that is exactly why I haven't done this, is because I don't want you to hear that.
Right.
But now it's like, no, I appreciate authenticity. I appreciate people knowing like why I do what I do, and it brings really cool stories, really cool people like yourself. Like it's great. So
Yeah.
that's what's changed.
Well, I am super stoked to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And help you maybe like share whatever that story is that not a lot of people have heard before.
Yeah.
So I have known of you for a couple years now.
Which is so weird for me to hear from people still.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's so very, very weird for people to recognize me and know that
Yeah.
I'm a Columbus artist, or,
That's
however they know me.
Right. No, that's exactly what it is. Like I have seen so much of your art and just you in general, just like shared in so many different things. And so one, your art, I love your art.
Thank you.
It's incredible. It's awesome. And then like once I started following you on social, I also like, this is another thing that like, even though you were just saying like, like, I don't know if I ever like to like really share stuff and all that sort of stuff. I also love how you use your social media. And like, that's such a cliche conversation now of like how people use social media and all this sort of stuff. But like, I at least like try and use mine in like a super just open, vulnerable, like here's really what I'm feeling. Here's really what I'm thinking. And yes, here's cool stuff that I make.
Right.
But here's like the real side of it. And that's something I super appreciate about yours is I feel like you do like share things that are like, this is exactly what I'm feeling, or this is exactly what I'm going through right now, or a version of it, or whatever it is. It's not just like, hey, look at me, I'm doing these cool things, which for anybody who just does that, that's okay.
Right.
Like it's totally fine. Like use it however you want it. But I love when I see people use things in a more authentic way to share their art, and not just making it about their art, more about like just how they feel, what they're thinking, like what they want to do, what they're afraid of, all that sort of stuff. So that was even a part of why I was like, okay, like, I added you to like my future guest list, and I was like, I want to have Lauren on this show because
That's so cool.
I feel like I've got so many glimpses of who you are through like any of those captions that I've read, or just through stuff that people have shared of you and everything. You seem like an amazing person, and you make wonderful art. So I was like, I need to have you on the show.
Wow. Thank you for saying that.
Dude, of course. So I guess honestly, like my first question is like, when did like painting become like the main thing that you do? And I don't mean necessarily like selling it or anything, but like when did it become like, oh, this is a thing that I love and this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So I went to art school. I knew art was what I wanted to do with my life very early on. My mom was pretty artistic, and she tried to help me flourish in that creative side. And when I went to school, I focused mainly on like photorealism and drawing. I thought I was going to leave school with like a degree in fine arts and an emphasis in drawing. That was my dream at the time. But throughout college, I dabbled more in different mediums. I studied studio art, so it was basically just everything. Like I dabbled in everything. And then my senior year, I got to pick which were my biggest emphases. And I chose painting, sculpture, drawing, and ceramics. I was supposed to choose 2. I chose 4. And
Perfect.
I just couldn't choose one thing. So because I loved it all, I love piecing all of those things into one. And so after college, I was like, why don't I just make it all one thing? So I started sculptural painting around when I was like 22, 23, and like finding random found objects, a lot of them having like being washed up by the sea. Like I love just finding things, making a sculpture out of it, and then painting that sculpture. So that's how my like abstract side started. But the more abstract mixed media painting side started after I moved to Columbus about 6 years ago. I was really struggling with just self-expression and thinking back to all of my like fine arts classes and my professors saying what art is or what do you think art is, and that there are all these people out in the world that are claiming like this table, it is art, or like this sock, it is art, and just like absurd things that others can say like that's not art, but because the artist said it was art, therefore it is art. And that is just like a cluster of a, I don't know, if mind, I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah.
I just started really struggling with that and thinking like, no, I want to express what's inside. Like I want that to be my art. And at the time it was a lot of pain, and so I let that out, and it came out in a very abstract way, which, if I didn't say it already, like I used to laugh at abstract art. Like I'd have to do all these papers in college where I'd have to go to a museum, stare at a painting for like 45 minutes, and then write a paper on it. And I had to choose an abstract painting, and I sat there and I was able to like write in, not anger, but just like frustration that this artist has a painting up in the Dayton Art Museum of all museums, but like I was upset that there is a abstract artist out there that has a red square hanging on an art museum, and then I'm like busting my ass over here like doing all of these paintings for my professors, and I was frustrated. I wrote a paper on it, and now here I am doing it. Like it's just funny thinking back to being mad at abstract art, but
Right.
that was my long-winded response.
That's perfect. That is perfect. This is the place for all the long-winded
Oh,
responses.
jeez.
I honestly am still, so not so much like the anger part, but I will openly say like I feel like I don't understand a lot of like those art installation
Yeah.
type things. It's not so much that I'm like, oh, that's so stupid. I more so am just like, how does that happen? Like, and where's the disconnect from me being like this lid to my thing? Look at that, how it
Right.
looks. It's art, and this is what it means to me. And then I'm like, okay, I can do that, and not even to make fun of that, like literally to be like, okay, that means something to me. And then I'm like, but how does that mean anything to
Right.
anybody else to where they're like, yes, we want to showcase this wonderful piece in the top museum in the world, the Dayton Art Museum, like the one. That's where it gets confusing to me, is because like I definitely subscribe to the idea that like anything can mean anything to anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm totally down for that. Like, and it can mean different things to different people, open for interpretation, like all about that. But the confusing part is like, how do you make something of that? Because like I've sat for so many years and like tried to, in so many different ways, whether it's a service that I'm providing for someone or making my own things and just sharing it, tried to get people to understand it the way that I do, or see a glimpse of it, or feel it the way that I feel it, of like, this is why I make this, or this is like, you know, it's like I'm trying to share that. And then when it doesn't happen, and I'm sure social media tosses a whole other like topic of conversation into art interpretation and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And that's like happening with all like the NFT stuff now, which I just don't get.
Over my
straight
head.
up don't get.
Way
like,
over my head.
I'm open to it, but I'm also like, I don't want a monkey profile picture, and I don't see how that's cool.
Right.
Like if it were cool art, what I would deem cool art, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, it's just like it's cool art that's like digital and that's dope. But I don't know why like a lightning bolt on a blue background or something is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other rant.
Get it.
But I'm with you on the side of having not really understood, like, and still don't, like the fine art sort of thing. Like, when did that change for you? Like, was it when you figured out like, oh, this is how I'm like uncovering how to put more emotion into my art or something, and then you're like, now I get it. Like, it does mean something. Like,
I don't know if I even can say that I fully understand now. Like I'm just always, or I feel like I'm always getting more and more, or becoming more and more open-minded in an artistic way and other ways as well. But I don't know. I ask the question again. Maybe I'll.
it was like when did you start to even like understand it for yourself, of how did you get past that blockade of like, that art's weird, I don't know if I would do it, and then you're like, wait, no, I kind of like doing some stuff like that. Like,
I feel like I had to do a lot of self-reflection on not just what I wanted the world to see in my art, but also I don't have to care about what the world sees in my art. Like you already mentioned it, many people can see many things. Like, they can look at one painting. I can have, people come in on like our Franklinton Friday and look at a piece and ask me what it means. And they'll be like, well, I saw this. And I'm like, awesome, you can see that. Like, that's great that you can see that. When I was in college, I mean, this is, like nearing 10 years ago, but I was in college, I was thinking like, no, you're not allowed to see what it's not. Like, that's what I was thinking then. I had a very, I don't know what the word is, but ignorant mindset maybe of art and how others see it. And again, like, or I said earlier, like going through trauma definitely changed my perspective, because then I felt like I had a lot to express. And so once I started expressing creatively, I started feeling like, wow, this is what like art actually is like, I'm healing in this process, I'm feeling in this process, and as long as I'm doing that, no matter what comes out on the canvas, I'm okay, because it's like, I don't know, that was art to me, was the unleashing of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've just been building off of that the last like 5 or 6 years, is like, okay, I'm feeling this way, I gotta go to the studio, I gotta paint this piece because it has to do with this. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's my answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I feel like I've been actively like trying to figure out like how to just sort of detach of like everything having to have an ultra big meaning, and just letting myself just make things just because I feel like making them.
Right.
Obviously, social media does not really help with that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, no one else cared about this. Judging by these numbers, no one cared about this. But did I enjoy making it? Like, was it something fun that I wanted to share? Was it a fun experience that I had? Like, whatever it is. And like, I feel like I started doing that like back when I started venturing into like, oh, I want my life to be filled with art. Because like as a kid, like my thing was drawing. Like that was like the thing that made me cool as a kid. Is like I was like really good at drawing. And that was like what everybody thought I was going to go to school for and all this sort of stuff. And then I didn't. But art like reared its head in so many other ways. And like at first it was like, oh yeah, I just want my life to be filled with art. I'm going to try and do all these things. But then it so quickly became, oh, this is going to be my career now. So now I have to make moves and I have to create for a job. And like literally just a couple of years ago, I went through like that sort of like huge crash where I was like, everything I'm doing, I don't like. I don't like being a part of this stuff. Like straight up just contemplated just doing something else completely with my life, of just like dropping most of the stuff and being like, I'm just going to do something else. Like, I don't know. It'll still be arts related, but I don't want to do this stuff anymore. But it took that like self-reflection standpoint of like, well, wait, what do I enjoy about the stuff that I do? Can I just strip things down and revert it back to that and make sure that I'm like leading with that focus first, and not, did I get a new client? Did I make a new connection? Did I whatever? Like, because you can still do those things and still enjoy and love making your art, but I feel like it's like the cliche word of like balance and figuring that stuff out.
Definitely.
So before I go on more rant about what I think about art, you said earlier that like when you were growing up, you were super artsy, and you said mom like was like an influence on that.
Yeah.
So like take me like, and you also said you moved to Columbus a handful of years ago. So take me
Childhood.
back. Yes, childhood. Like
Drama.
Where are you
Insert
from?
all the evil music, like Haunted Mansion.
I'll edit that in once I'm editing the episode. Like as soon as I ask that question, it's like boom, and then I'll just have a score to this whole thing.
Childhood.
But yeah, so like, where did you grow up? What was growing up like?
Yeah, I grew up in Kentucky, which I say the Ohio part of Kentucky because
Fair.
I don't really feel Southern, like the Cincinnati area.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in like suburbia, and both of my parents they're still together. Honestly, I'm surprised now, but like I used to be like, yeah, my parents are still together, and people would be like, you're so lucky to have your parents together. Anyways, we'll get to that. Yeah, Kentucky, not a Southern girl. I was homeschooled from 7th grade through high school. So we went to a private Christian school before that, me and my older brother. And that was a life in and of itself. And becoming homeschooled after being in a private school didn't feel much different, just because the private school was pretty restrictive already, but it became very lonely as a homeschooler because it was just me and my brother in the basement, and we're just reading books for, I don't know, no reason. Like, mom really wasn't telling us to take tests. Well, she was, but she wasn't a teacher, and she had her own job, so we were really like had to be self-sufficient, and I didn't learn much. I should not have graduated high school, like truly should not have graduated high school, and hopefully no one's listening to this that can take away my degree, but
is that possible?
I don't think so. I hope not. I'm an artist. I didn't go into law, but
You're like, take it, I don't need it
know.
anyway.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I made it, but so I guess my parents are, oh man, how do I describe them? They're just a typical white family. We're just a typical white family in suburbia, and I really did not see how good I had it until probably once I moved here, but we just didn't have great relationships. It's like, yes, I was supported and I had financial help, but it just was all very distant. We all were very distant, and I think my dad was the main part of that. If I had to give adjectives to describe my father for how I've known him my whole life, it would be angry, impatient, I don't know. Yeah, those are the words. Like, he wasn't a very nurturing person. That was my mom. And I mean, that's usually the case, is moms are the nurturing ones. But she was very, very nurturing, very attached, and maybe sometimes attached. But I don't know. I feel like I'm in this part of my life right now where I am breaking down a lot of the ways my parents raised me. And I feel like I've always been doing that, but now it's like to an extreme. And it's with no hate towards my parents, but I will not raise any children I have, if I have children, like they raised me. And that was in like a very strict church, and I stayed in a Christian bubble until I was 22 years old, and I think that really hurt me in a lot of ways. Like keeping me so sheltered in that bubble for so long that I wasn't able to experience like all that the world had, all the types of people out there, and all the ways that I could love people of all kinds. And I have developed this like resentment towards my family and like my parents because I didn't get to experience that as soon as many people do. Like, but yeah, part of my upbringing. I have 2 brothers that they both have Asperger's and ADHD. We're all just like an ADHD family, and it's chaos. But my brothers are awesome. They're so weird, and I love it. My older brother is just super. I mean, they're both pretty into tech and games, and that's pretty just not abnormal, I guess, for kids with Asperger's and ADHD. But they both are extremely smart and just don't know their capability, I feel like. They just want to do the bare minimum, and that's all. And so seeing me, a lot of family friends or just people that pass by will assume that I'm the oldest because I'm out of the house. I have my own job, but really it's like my older brother back home who is totally fine. Like, he's financially stable. He's just choosing to stay at home. And yeah, but they're both great. I hope that they want to get married one day, and I can have a sister. Like, that'd be pretty cool. But if they want to be alone, they can be alone. But yeah, that's my family. A little bit about them, I guess.
So, what if this is a dive off the deep end? You can be like, nah, dude, ask me about the art stuff
good.
again.
All good.
I'm interested because I know the thoughts and things that I am like processing with a lot of like similar things of like, I think it's probably like as we all grow up and get older, you start to identify like, oh, this is what really happened and this is what was really going on. And then you like, I've become not big into like it's a hobby or something, but like I think a lot about like kind of dissecting my childhood a lot.
Yeah.
And not to where it's like driving me crazy or anything, but I'll just think about like, well, why am I the way that I am? And like, how did this thing that happened make me, did that like add to who I am? Did it take away? Like, did I miss something? Because like my parents were split like from the start. Like, I am a total accident, like 100%. And they had me pretty young, and like early on, I've told those stories so many times on this podcast. People are probably tired of hearing it. I'm sorry. But like early on, like I got a not great stepmom, and she was in my life until I was like 12 or 13. And so my family was completely divided due to her. And so I know I was just living in constant fear whenever I was like at my dad's. It made my relationship with my dad growing up not like terrible, but not awesome, because I was like, oh, you're choosing this person over me and her feelings and her wants and needs and all that sort of stuff. And I think back to things that happened with her and, you know, what just in general happened with my family. And now I'm like, oh, now I'm starting to uncover and identify like why I do certain things. Like I can be the most sarcastic person and I can joke about anything like all the time, but I don't handle sarcasm well to my like directed at me. Like if you were like,
you can't take it, but you can give it.
Yes. And it's not even that I don't even like roasting people or anything, because my stepmom was a bully. So like anything that I would do, she'd be like she would act like kind of an odd child in a way and kind of demean me for certain things. But now, like over the last couple of years, I've realized like, wait, why do I get so upset? And why can I not take a joke? And then I'm like, oh, it's because for so many years growing up, I was just being bullied at home, you know, all the time. And so it made me be like, oh, I resent this. I don't like this. It hurts my feelings. You know what I mean? If you were like, yeah, dude, like you said your hair was curly earlier. Actually, it looks like garbage. Like, oh just kidding. I'd be like, what does she actually mean about my hair? Like, what does it actually look like for her to have said that? Like, and so then I dig deeper and then I end up hurting my own feelings. So that was a long-winded thing.
No worries.
But to kind of ask, like, is that kind of where you're at with a lot of things now, where you're starting to kind of uncover those things and identify like, oh, this is kind of what that caused. And now looking back, like obviously hindsight is 2020, but like, oh, now looking back, like I can see a lot of this for what it actually was.
I've always been somebody that even all of the therapists that I have had, the first thing that they tell me is, you're so self-aware, Lauren. And I've heard that from many people. Like, they've gotten the same thing. And while I appreciate being told that, and I am thankful that I'm self-aware, I get it. I need a little bit more help than being told that I'm self-aware. But anyways, shoot, there's my ADHD. I lost it. Gotta ask it again.
Yes, you're good. You're good. I asked basically what was it that kind of made you start to look back and be like, oh, this is why things are the way that they are.
Yes. Okay. Parents. Got it. Like I said, self-aware. I have always been very, I just have always known the way my parents are, and I haven't always liked my dad, or I'd never have liked my dad, I should say. That sounds awful, but I have never had a good relationship with my dad. I love my dad, but anyways. I was very angry growing up, seeing my mom be treated the way that she was, seeing my brothers be treated the way they were, and it seemed like I was the only one that wouldn't stand for it. And I think I just got tired of standing up for everyone, and now I've distanced myself, and I'm processing from afar, and going to therapy. I don't spend a lot of time with my family, and I think because I haven't spent a lot of time with them, I've had more time to think about wow, I feel so much healthier. And that's awful to say, but I feel so much healthier not being around them, because being around them makes me feel like I am not enough, that I am not what they wanted me to be, and I am surrounded by people who think I am enough and encourage me here. So yeah, I'm just at a place in my life where why would I go and spend time, even though, yes, they made me, they supported me, they love me, I now have the ability to put that boundary there where I don't have to spend every single, birthday with you and, things like that. But it's been a process this past year, kind of breaking down my parents' relationship, because they're going through what feels like one of the first hardships they've ever gone through. And I'm more angry with my father. I'm more angry with my mother, even though she did nothing. I'm watching them go through trauma for what I feel like is the first time, but they just aren't very open people. So who knows? Who knows what they've gone through? But I am watching them navigate that, and so that's what really has sparked my more recent, this is not how I'm going to raise my kids' development, I guess. And yeah, I'll stop it there.
You're good. So I guess the first thing is obviously it's great to be setting those boundaries. Mm-hmm. It's great to be figuring that part out of I don't have to, I feel like as we figure out exactly, or maybe not exactly who we are, but who we want to be, the lives we want to have, what we want to do, you start to identify, okay, there's some things I have to shed. Mm-hmm. There's things I have to leave behind, whether they're super traumatic or whether they're just sort of a random thing that you're that's not something I'm going to carry with me. And it's great to set those boundaries, but it definitely is a struggle to do that, mm-hmm. because especially when it is family, I can't say I don't resent my family for anything. But where my disconnect happens is I feel like an absolute outsider. Mm-hmm. And it's not that they don't ever make me feel loved or supported. They really do. They 100%. But in a weird way, sometimes I feel like it's they don't actually know how to support me in a way. They're still going to give the effort, which I will not complain about. Like, if they heard this, like, I don't want them to feel like they're not doing it. Like, no, they're incredible. I love all of them. But as I'm discovering more of who I am, I'm just like, oh, I don't even feel like I'm actually a part of this family. Again, not because I'm not loved or cared about, but what I'm telling myself in my head or what I'm even doing. I'm like, I think differently. I act differently. Like, I genuinely believe, like, most of the time I'm like, I'm like an alien that got dumped, and they happened to be like, they found me out in the cornfield, and they were like, we'll raise him. And, you know, turns out I didn't have any superpowers. I just wanted to make stuff. But, like, you know,
I always joked I was adopted growing up. I don't know how bad that hurt my parents, but
I would do the same thing. And now I think back to that and I'm like, did that make them sad?
It could have been, that could have been really mean.
But it's like, those are the type of things that I dissect, though, because it's like whenever because I'm originally from like an hour and 20 minutes, like southeast of here, super small town. That's like your bubble of a small town that you don't really leave necessarily. But for some reason, like all of growing up, becoming a teenager, like venturing out into the real world, there was just always something where I was like, this is not what I really want to do. You know, I'm not supposed to stay in this small town. It's okay if you do, but for me, I'm not. And ever since like those moments, like I have always felt like I'm a complete outsider. Like whenever I go back to visit, this has been a weird difficulty that I've been dealing with. And I don't know how often or not that you ever, I mean, you were just kind of explaining it, like ever like visit with them or anything like that and what those visits are like. But like, for me, I always feel like I feel like I'm wrong for being the way that I am. Because when I'm visiting them, it's perfectly fine. It's not like we're arguing, we're not doing anything. It's just, I feel like I am an alien visiting a different planet. And I'm like, I kind of don't know what to talk to you about. I kind of don't know what to like share about my life if it's not like, hey, I got a new client and they paid me well. Like, you kind of don't even know what a client is. You know, you don't know what that means, but you know I got paid well. So like, good job. Right. You know, and it's like, so that's been like the weird struggle is I'm like, I almost like the older I get, I assumed, like, as you become more of an adult, you understand more of who they are as adults. And then that actually brings you closer and you're like, hey, what about those bills, huh? Yeah. But for me, I'm like, I don't know how to connect. And then what that does is like, while I'm down there, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I feel like I'm not making the most of my time with them. And that's not to say that every time I visit, it's some terrible thing and I'm sad or whatever. Right. But like, there are definitely times like I'll leave those visits and I'm like, what should I have done differently? Like, you know what I mean? It's sort of just like I stopped in. I'm like the extra character on the TV show, you know, who like walks in every couple episodes like, hey, everybody. And they're like, oh, you. And then I drive back to Columbus. You know what I mean?
Special guest.
Yeah, like that's literally what it feels like. Yeah. Like, is that like when you have visited them, like more as you're kind of like uncovering this stuff, like, Is your kind of mindset going into it? Is it just like, I'm just going to make the best of this and it's just sort of whatever? Or do you feel like it always ends up negative and where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have even done this? Like,
I mean, I could say yes to everything you just said, but my family dynamic has always, or just like my family in general, my mom's side of the family has always been pretty dramatic. There's always been a lot of what we called soap opera moments growing up, and I'm used to seeing things kind of be chaotic and it be normal. Maybe it wasn't in my like immediate life and family life until recently, but growing up, I saw the chaos and saw like, oh, this is not how we should be handling family gatherings, but here we are. But yeah, I think as I grew older and I became an adult, I started speaking up. I found my voice. Visits with them became more hard on me because I wasn't just standing back and watching everybody and enjoying them. Like I love my extended family, everyone. Like my cousins and I were all very close growing up, and it sucks that they live in Arkansas and I don't get to see them as much, but we were close growing up, and now like we all have, you know, our lives as that happens. But oh shoot, lost it again. Give me a second.
It's a do your thing, whatever you got.
I should have even given you this warning at the beginning. Is like, I will forget what I'm saying.
It is totally fine. Trust me, it happens. It definitely happens. There's been a lot of people in here where I'm like, yeah, tell me about this, and they'll start, and they're like,
I don't even know.
I don't even know what you.
Well, I know I'm talking about my family. It was just like, why was I? What?
Well, what I had asked was like the dynamic now, like
Yes.
when you go to visit them, is it
The
that kind of
alien
like,
effect.
yeah, yes.
I definitely feel like I'm an alien walking in, but it's not in the same way that you do. I think because, like, I feel like I know my family members very, very well, and that I know what I could talk to them about. I know what I can connect with them with or whatever, and like there's plenty of ways that I could, you know, keep this connection and relationship going, but it's just exhausting right now. And whether that be because of 2020, because of new trauma, I don't know, but like I've just taken a big step back. But along the lines of gatherings, the last time I was with everyone was last Christmas in 2020. Yes, 2020. And this was a big moment for me that made me feel just really set apart from my family and misunderstood, not even personally, but just like the way I love felt misunderstood because of a commercial about RuPaul's Drag Race. And it was just me, my cousins, my whole entire family, literally like, I don't know, 21 of us, kids, everyone, in a room, massive TV in my grandma's living room, and we're watching some sort of, I don't know, it's probably like a Die Hard movie or something, one of those reruns they do like during the holidays.
Right.
That's in the background, and then all of a sudden a RuPaul's Drag Race commercial comes on, and a few family members pipe up and talk about how despicable, how disgusting, how can they walk around like that. I was only there for 5 minutes, and that is the first thing that I experienced with my family as a whole after not being with them for about a year or two. And the anger I felt was unlike any other. And I was just like, I will not, I said this like out loud, I was like, I will not sit here and listen to you talk about somebody who's completely worthy of love like they're trash. I will not do that. And I had to walk downstairs and go play with the kids. Like, I was like, I gotta let off some steam. Yeah. I can't let this be Christmas. Like, for that to be the first thing is just such a comment of hate. That's not how I identify anymore. I never wanted to identify with hate, but it's how I was raised. And not saying that Christians equal hate, but it is, I've seen a theme, and a theme of shame and guilt that I believe has been put on way too many people, and it's been undeserved and unjust. So that is how family gatherings go sometimes, is they'll say comments and I just will not have a filter anymore. And that's exhausting for me, is I don't want to hurt my family's feelings because something you say hurts someone else's feelings,
right,
I guess.
Right.
So I set boundaries because I don't want to be like the girl that, what they would call the prodigal son, the one that runs away from home. They're expecting me to come back. They're expecting me to say, oh, I'm so sorry. I moved to Columbus. I went and I found my own way. I'm so sorry that I left you all in Kentucky. And I don't know if that's what they're expecting, but that is in my head. That's what I have built up.
Yeah.
And I just think this is just a much better life for me. And I found a lot more love in meeting people of all kinds, all religions, all however you identify. Like I've met and loved all types of people, and I just don't understand why my parents could grow up raising me and say, like, not directly like these are the people you can't love, but saying comments like that about the RuPaul's Drag Race. Comments like that put ideas in my mind thinking that this person isn't good enough. And so that's what I grew up believing, was that they weren't good enough. And I still am like broken that I believed those things. But now it's like I'm trying to, not that I can fix what I've done or believed in the past, but I don't know, rewrite it all, kind of. And not that I have my own family like to rewrite it with. I'm trying to do that on my own, and that's proving to be difficult at times, but yeah.
I definitely feel you on the idea of like looking back at like who maybe you were at different times, or like why you didn't speak up at different times, or why you believe certain things or something like that. And like I talked with a friend of mine literally on the show recently about like that idea of like I wish that I could re-meet so many people from like certain sections of my life. Mm-hmm. Because like, yes, we're always growing, we're always changing, you're always going to mature in different ways and all this sort of stuff. But like when all I knew was just small town Ohio, I did things that you do in small town Ohio.
Right.
I wasn't a kid who's like seeked out trouble. Like I was still like the quiet kid. Like nothing was ever that bad. Mm-hmm. But in my mind though, I'm like, why did I ever act that way? Why did I ever say that thing? Why did I ever treat that person that way? But it's because you do just become a product of your environment until you can identify like, oh, is this actually me or is this not? And then you grow out of that, which again leads to like the disconnection of like even so many like high school friends, like we sort of keep up via social media, but we never really speak. And there's always like this, like, I feel like an unsaid like thing that needs to be talked about of like, I'm waiting for the classic, like, you've changed, bro.
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm sure you've seen plenty of those like drawings like on the internet. And it's like, I want to sit and be like, yes, you are right. Yeah. Like, I'm probably nothing like the person that you remember, but here's why. And here's why I wanted that. And here's why, like, so looking back at those things, like, it is hard to not beat yourself up sometimes. And obviously, like, I don't think you can let that be an anchor to certain things, because like those are things we can't change. You know what I mean? Those are things we can't, like, I can't go back to 18-year-old me and be like, dude, why did you treat that person like garbage because they like didn't want to be your friend or something? You know what I mean? Like why? And that's even more like why I'm like, I dissect this stuff so much, because I'm like, I don't know how I got from point A to point Z or whatever point that I'm at now. You know what I mean? Like looking at like who I used to be, like I can see a lot of like what I am was always there, but it was always kind of like just messy, and it was just like jumbled up amongst like all this other like silly stuff. And I look at it all the time and I'm like, I have literally no clue how I didn't carry traumas with me, how I didn't just become an angry person, how I didn't just become a hateful person, or just a person who just stayed in my hometown and was like, I don't want anything else. And truthfully, there are many days where honestly I wish I had that. Like there's a lot of, like, I don't know if you ever feel that way, but like there's a lot of days where I'm like, I wish I didn't want to be creative and didn't want to do anything. I just wish I just didn't have the stress sometimes. And I wish I wanted to wake up and just like play video games all day and go to a job that's for sure going to pay me a paycheck. And that's just it. So before I continue to rant about all of that sort of stuff, going back into growing up, like, what was it you think, like, was it art and being artsy that like you feel like didn't make you attach to all these like hateful or negative tendencies? Like, I guess maybe I'm asking, like, what kind of got you through that, like, as you grew up?
Definitely the people in my life. I try to grab the safe ones, and process with them. And through those conversations, I definitely created a lot of art. And the art in and of itself can be like the hateful thought or the bad thing that I did or someone did to me. Like, it can be just the act that I'm just releasing, however I envision it in my mind. And yeah, I definitely think that has helped me process through a lot of the frustration of, what do you even call it? Just like breaking down your childhood. And yeah, I don't know. I painted recently one of the most hard pieces I've ever painted. Only took me a few hours, and I think that's because I was like really feeling like I was actually in like so much in my emotion that I was crying as I was painting. And it's those things that I don't want people to see that, really. It's like, that's for me, and I don't really want to, like, when someone comes into my studio, oh, what's that painting about? Oh man, I cried so hard when I painted that. Like, I can say those things, but like, that's not the first thing I want somebody to hear, maybe. But it's really deep stuff. Like, that's how I unleash a lot of the anger I wish I didn't feel, because it is connected to my dad. Like, when I feel angry, I'm blaming my dad inside because he seems to be an angry person. And just like, how dare my dad raise me to be an angry person when it wasn't his intention. He wouldn't want me to be an angry person. He is probably like looking at me being frustrated right now and like beating himself up, honestly, like if I were to think about it. But I don't know if he'd ever show that side. I feel like he still has a wall where he has to be the man. Because I was taught that emotions, well, not taught, but pressured into feeling like emotions were not good growing up. And so it's funny that I am now literally just letting out my emotions as a job. And I'm selling my pieces that are 100% emotion. Yeah, so that's pretty neat that I can do that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And like so outside of like painting or the art, like, are you a very emotional person? Like, are you?
Yeah, I definitely am an emotional person, but that doesn't mean I'm just like crying all the time. I experience a lot of different types of emotion. I'm definitely an empath, and I feel like I can be an empath to a fault, where I feel way too much of what the other person is feeling, so much so that I make it my problem when it's not my problem.
Yeah. Yep.
And that can weigh on me a lot, and I've used art to unleash that kind of, emotion too, like where I've been taking on too much of other people's stuff. And that's not on them, that's on me. Like, I want people to talk to me about what's going on in their life, but it definitely does affect my just mood and state of mind. And I still use that in art, and I'll go and tell them, I'll be like, your story, inspired me to do this. And nobody's hated it yet, so.
Right. So
nobody's hated it.
That, we are very similar in that way, where I feel like I'm like mostly just a ball of emotion that looks like a boy walking around. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's pretty much it, because like I am the person who like, I'm not like the daily like crier or something like that, but I feel everything way too intensely. And like, I'm sure that there's so many different things I could web that to, of like, oh, this is why. But like, I 100% am a crier. There, if anything is slightly like heartfelt or slightly sad, I'm just done.
Last night,
that's just
I was
it.
crying at the Olympics last night, and it wasn't even that big of a deal.
I honestly, if I were watching them, I probably would have done the exact same thing. Like, I feel like, so one story that always pops in my head, those people that like stand out in front of like Walmarts for like charity things for Christmas or whatever.
Ring
Like
the
that's,
bell.
yes, that's like their job. Like they're being paid to do that. I donated money one time and cried. Like I didn't, no idea why. Like, but I literally just like did it and like walked away and I was like, oh my God.
It's like my good deed. It really got to me.
I don't know. Like that's so dumb. But like, it does not take a lot for me to cry. But I'm really good at not acting out of emotion. You know what I mean? Like if I'm upset about something or if I'm angry about something or annoyed or whatever, like I'm very much that like logical thinker of like, okay, cool. I'm feeling this way, but I'm not going to make a decision right now based off of this. I'm going to really think about this and figure out like, how do I really feel about this thing? Like, am I really that upset? You know, is it really that big a deal? Like that's something I've really worked on the last like handful of years was like understanding that like what happens doesn't matter. My reaction to it does. Because that'll either make the thing way worse or not as bad or somewhere in the middle or just help me deal with it in whatever way that I need to deal with it and not just being that like super emotional, just like, oh, this is bad and it's terrible and it's dumb and I hate it and my life is over now.
Yeah.
Like, so there's some weird balance there where like I overly feel everything that happens, but it never like matters when it comes to decision making. Like there's still like the logical part there when it comes to decision making. Now, like, so as you're like going through this stuff and you're growing up and you're figuring out like, okay, emotions are weird and family is kind of strange and all this sort of stuff. Like as you start to become an adult, like, and even going into high school and everything, like what was even the decision like to like, okay, cool, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to like actually pursue art. Like, was that like fully supported by family of like, yes, go do this thing? Or was there ever the pressure of like, be a doctor?
Right.
Like,
surprisingly, no. Like my family was very supportive of my art decision, mainly just because they saw me flourish in it, I guess. I really loved all of my art classes and they knew I was good at it. So if I knew I wanted to do that, they weren't going to stop me from, going to college, getting a degree. They were happy I was just doing that. More so happy about the school I was going to, but choosing art was the easiest decision. And I did have full support. It wasn't until moving to Columbus after I graduated where I started feeling like my family members were not so on board. And a lot of them didn't have all of the information, and some thought like, oh, she's been diagnosed as mentally ill, so she's going to go, do some impulsive things. We got to stop her from doing that. And I'm like, maybe this is an impulse decision, but also I want to do this. Like, I genuinely want to do this. And yeah, my family, it seemed like at the time they liked to put words in my mouth. Like, you're just moving for a boy, or you're just trying to leave family. You don't actually love us. And I'm like, I've said none of those things.
yeah.
I don't feel any of those things. And I still to this day believe moving to Columbus was one of the best decisions I've ever made and would not be who I am if I did not move here. I do not regret at all moving away from Kentucky. It wasn't even in the cards for me to go back to Kentucky. Like, I did not want to go back to Kentucky. So the few months after college that I was there was difficult, but I'm here now. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yes, no,
Okay.
you totally did. Yes, you totally did. So what was the decision like moving to Columbus? Like, that is a big move.
It was scary.
Like,
It definitely was scary. If I didn't know people here, I knew only a few at the time, it would have been more scary. I don't think I would have done it if I didn't know. The guy I was dating at the time happened to live here and really helped me like get on my feet. Like, his family helped me a lot. Helped me by staying at their house before I got a place, and offered a job, but I didn't take it, I don't think. if that was that. But yeah, I really loved just like finding my footing in Columbus. I started in the Dublin area, which was very ritzy to me and too suburban. And once I started getting more friends, they all lived downtown. So I started coming downtown and I was like, this is where the life is. This is where the art is. This is where I want to be. And I knew about this building 400, and it would be a dream to be in this building. Like 5 years ago, I was thinking, okay, maybe in 10 years I can make it here. And I never would have thought that I'd have my own studio and in like the building that I would have chosen too, in the place that I would have chosen. And yeah, and it's just grown since I moved to Columbus. So it's just shown me every single year, like my business is growing. Why would I leave? Or why wouldn't I stay, you know?
So
Yeah.
like once you moved up here, like was the goal like, okay, I want to be in this hub of so many things to pursue a career in art? Or was it just like, I'm just going to kind of see what happens. I still love to make things.
Yeah.
Or like, was that like the goal of like, I want a career in this?
The main reason I moved here was Short North, honestly. I experienced Short North Arts District for the first time, and I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want my art to be, in these galleries. And so the reason I wanted to come here first was to be in a Short North gallery. And so once I moved here and I got to know the area better, I really liked Franklinton, just much better. But anyways, yeah, the goal definitely was to be more involved in the arts area, whatever that looked like. I looked into like art curating jobs and art exhibition jobs and random creative things. Like I didn't want to lose the creative side. No matter, even if I wasn't painting for myself, I still wanted a creative thing. And so the job that kept me going was I worked at a small family-run business that sold pallets up in Powell. And I was just the like receptionist for, I don't know, like 10, 11 months. And it was soul crushing, but it paid the bills. But alongside that, I also was teaching art. And that really was what kept me going, was for the first 5 years I lived here, I was teaching art. And having that creative outlet definitely got me the connections I needed too. I knew a lot more people because of that job. And going to coffee shops has helped me a lot too, and meeting people there. The job I currently work at, Roosevelt, Kenny, the owner, has helped me get out there more and just been my dad, essentially.
Right.
And yeah, he got the word out about my art. He's had my art up in the shop before, and I've had meetings with people that he's known that they've gotten my art out there, and it's just like this domino effect that's been really cool over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Of people like learning more and more about my art and what I do.
Was there ever a point in time that you felt like it wasn't going to work? Where you were like,
day. Literally every day I wake up. No, I always doubt myself. I always doubt that it's not going to work out. And every month when I'm looking at what I've made so far, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make it this month. And every month, someone comes along and gets a commission, or they order something online, or even this, like I would consider this, even it's completely free, totally fine. Like this is a priceless, like, I don't even want to call it, it's not a job. It's just like it gets exposure. It's a story. It is art. It's like a version of it, I guess. So even this I consider part of my job. It's it's helping me.
Right. So is that like, has that kind of like just been the running balance, like since like, so it's like you move up to Columbus and you're like, okay, cool, I'm seeing all these like cool artsy places, I want to get involved in them. Like how long was it until you got into 400?
So I moved here in 2016, the very beginning of 2016, and I didn't have a studio until 2019, so about 3 years.
Okay.
And I spent the few years before having a studio I did a lot of like pop-up markets and festivals, had to like set up a tent all the time, and that was fun while it lasted, but definitely not what I wanted to continue to do. But it was something I wanted to try. So it was something I checked off the list. I tried it. I liked parts of it, didn't like other parts. And so at that point, after I did the home market thing, the Columbus Arts Festival also helped get my name out there. And that's how a few people reached out to me and were like, hey, we have this studio space at other places. And I started looking at other places, and I was like, maybe 400 isn't the dream. But then they had an opening, and I was like, nah, I want that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, those markets definitely got my name out there more than I expected. But the work that went into it is what I don't want to continue to do.
Right.
Lots of trial and error through that. And I did try to teach on my own a little bit, like my own abstract classes. And so my business has changed and morphed a bit over the last few years, and not always been just like me painting abstract paintings and selling them. It's been a lot of random things, because whenever I find something that works, I try to run with it, and then when it doesn't work anymore, I'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, that's even what I was going to ask is like, when you say business, like, is it mainly like, yes, it is me producing these paintings and selling the art and all that sort of stuff? Or is it like, yeah, no, it's kind of just this like my creative hub in which I try anything and everything.
I guess so. Like my website, I guess it would be a little bit of a, just, I don't know, it's a little bit crazy. Because I used to have like murals, live painting, and different events you can have me for. And I was like, maybe I should just let people email me. Like, and if they want, or if they have an event, they can be like, let's just email her, instead of like looking at my website and seeing like, oh, she's done a lot of random stuff. Like, what? I don't know. Instead of having it all listed, just like give people the the main things. Like, I do commissions, I do big murals. If you want that, that's great. But if you have other ideas, I'd love to hear that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're like the type of creative person, I guess, for lack of a better term, like that? Do you like to just try everything that seems interesting to you? Or are you like, no, I want to just do this thing?
I tend to get comfortable at times in my own routines. But I also get a lot of ideas and write them down and want to keep building ideas. I don't necessarily like staying in the same category of art. So I've been working on a lot of layered pieces, which I've always been there's always tons of layers in my work. It's very textured. And so of course it's going to have layers, but just how I get those layers, like the materials I use and the different ways I get texture. So I've been playing with cement and spackle and anything that has a weird texture. I'll be like, I'm going to Lowe's, I'm going to pick that up, and we're going to try it on a canvas next week. Like, I just keep making things with new materials and seeing what works and what doesn't. And so that's really fun for me.
Dude, sorry to interrupt you, the mirror piece that you've been posting about is like so cool.
I loved it. I was so happy. My friend, this happens so often. Like probably once a month, somebody will text me and be like, hey, I got this stuff that I don't need anymore. Do you want it? And had a friend say, I have these massive broken mirrors. And I was like, absolutely. Right. I will make something of that. I love breaking things and not my glasses, but we'll get them eventually. I love using glass in my piece. So I've done that for years. It's just I've had this broken table from college that was made of glass that shattered in our studio one day. I have bags of that glass still that I've put into pieces since 2015. And so I was like, broken mirrors, I can do something with that. It was really fun doing that.
Now I know if I find anything like that.
Yes, love it.
I will send it your way.
I just need a bigger studio if that's the case, because I can't keep all the stuff in there.
Right.
I just keep collecting.
Is that so? It is like what do you feel like is like next on like the goal list? Like if you were looking forward of like, oh yeah, I do want a bigger studio, or I want to put on more art shows, or I want to teach more? Like looking forward, like what are some of the goals?
Right now, I am trying to take things a little slow just because of the weight that the last year or so has had. So I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself to choose something to do, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to just stick with what I know is not even easy, but like just what I do. So commissions, I'm happy doing a ton of commissions, and I'm lucky enough to have had a consistent, like, big commission to work on every month. So I'm happy even just doing that for another year. But I would eventually love to have a bigger studio where I could hold classes. Not super regular, but like maybe once a month. Just have like an abstract course. And I've talked with people at the Idea Foundry, if you've been over there before. I've talked to them before about hosting classes there. So it's still like a possibility, even without, a bigger studio. But it would be ideal.
Yeah.
To have not just the space to share more of, or like to have more wall space to have my work on, but the space where people can sit down and can like mingle and linger, not just feel like they have to come in and get out because the studio is a little cramped. Like that, I feel like has been a small hindrance in the COVID phase, when we had to limit the amount of people that could come in and stuff like that. It's been a little difficult with that. But having a bigger space would definitely give me a lot more room to grow, literally. But
right.
Yeah.
So, like, something you said earlier was, and I feel like a lot of us are like in this phase, and we've talked already so much about like the family stuff and all that, but like even like looking forward, even just as a person, so like even outside of career, what, like, how do I want to ask this? Like, what do you feel like the work is you've been doing on yourself? Like, cause that, I asked that because for years, my identity was just completely wrapped up in my work. It was, how many clients am I getting? Am I making money? Oh, I'm not. Cool. I need to just do more work. And I feel like in the last like year or two, as cheesy as this might sound, like I feel like I have either started to or pretty well morphed into like genuinely what I will confidently say is like, I think the best version of myself that I've ever been for multiple different reasons. And I love getting to say that. You know what I mean? I love getting to feel that. And but none of that comes without work of identifying certain things and everything we've talked about up to this point of like looking back at the traumas or the problems or the whatevers and identifying those things and figuring out what can I leave behind, what do I need to move forward with, and just what work in general do I need to do. Like, so I always think it's super important for any of us to separate those, like the career and the self. Like, so even looking at that, I don't know what the question is other than like, where do you feel like you're at in life? Or like, what are you trying to set up for in your life in general? Is it like, I will live in Columbus forever. That's cool. And as long as I'm busy with paintings, like I'm good. Like,
so I'll say, I feel like no one's done growing ever. That is just, I believe that. But I still feel like I have a lot of personal growth to do as a 28-year-old. I don't know. I am, maybe I am the best version of myself that I've ever been now. But I still see so much that has been broken down from, like, watching my family kind of fall apart and like my own personal life fall apart. Like watching that makes me feel like I am not yet my strongest. Not that I have to be like 100% strong. I know that. I have to tell myself that it's okay to, not be weak, but to, like, emotion doesn't equal weak, but to just like feel. It's okay to just, feel and hurt and experience the pain for what it is. Because if I don't, it'll probably come up later in happen at a time that I don't want it to happen. So I'm trying to feel things as they happen so that I don't catch myself in a situation like that in the future. And we mentioned this, or like we talked about, we're not really strangers, the card game.
Yeah.
And the expansion packs that I use. Like I use those for journaling, and I really feel like that has significantly helped my mental health and my growth into being a better person, into learning who I really am. And like that who I really am part is just big, because who I really am is somebody that gets angry easily, and that's hard to admit, but that is something that I have identified in the last few months. But my anger looks different than what you would, just think like angry is. It's not like I'm lashing out, but it's like I still live with anger. Like I live with anger in my gut all the time, and I just don't want to. And so I'm trying to break out of that right now. So that's why I say I feel like I'm not my best self, because I'm still trying to break down that anger side of it. But yeah, I do know who I am. If you were to ask me, who are you? I would just start telling you. That's an easy question. I can answer who I am, but it's the deeper stuff. What makes you angry? Why does it make you angry? That's when that gets me.
With that, and that's so much of what I feel like I have focused on just focus on in general are like we've already mentioned before, but the management of emotions and stuff like that. Because just like you said, I 100% know I'm by no means done growing. In 3 years, I'm gonna look back at me now and be like, you thought
you're
a
you stranger.
Knew. Yeah, who is that person? And but I feel like even why I sit and say I feel like the best about myself that I have is because I feel like I'm aware of all those things, and I'm so welcoming of, hey, things are gonna change.
Yeah.
And things are going to be difficult, and there's going to be a new big problem, and there's going to be something terrible that I'm going to have to deal with, whatever. But I'm okay, I'm the most equipped that I've ever been to make those decisions and deal with those things. And in a weird way, that sort of excites me, because right now, so we're the same age, and it's very easy for I feel like when you're in this time frame, you start to see, and I don't know if you've dealt with this, but you start to see everybody else around you start becoming real versions of adults, or what I would say are real versions of adults.
Boring.
Yeah, yes. I'm so sorry, friends with children. I'm not saying you're boring. I love you. But I have trouble enough being oh, my cat's being hyper right now. What is going on? But I see those things, and those are still the parts where that creeps up, and I'm am I wrong for not being married? Am I wrong for not having kids? Am I wrong for literally I took the last handful of years and intentionally was I just don't think I'm ready for a girlfriend even, because I want to focus so much on just who I am. I'm a hardcore lean into the before you can love somebody else, you've got to love yourself. And it's now I actually feel I'm at that point. You know what I mean? I'm actually at that point where I'm okay, for the first time in years, I feel I'm ready for a girlfriend to happen, or I'm ready for it. But still, what makes those things harder is I'm I feel I am, but am I really? Is my life too chaotic? You know what I mean? Is because it's there's most days I wake up at 11, you know what I mean? And I just do whatever I want all day, and I sit and talk to people for 2 hours every night, you know, or whatever. I'm recording these, and I look at the people who do have those structured lives, and even though 100% I am I don't really want that right now. I don't want to hunker down in a house and all this sort of stuff. Whenever it happens and great, but I'm still so excited to do all these sort of things and continue to grow who I am. But I see those things, and just like we talked about earlier, visiting family, you're what? Why are we so different? I've started to feel that way with friends now. And it doesn't mean that the friendships are bad or anything.
Right.
Some of my closest friends are the people that I look at, and I'm dang, am I actually happy doing all this sort of, you know what I mean? Because like you guys are stoked and you're like in love and it's incredible. And I like stayed up until 3 a.m. working on a design project I needed to get done.
That's
like
totally fine.
You know, but it's
Totally
just like
fine.
it's that weird thing that I don't know, continues to kind of creep in my head, especially like as you reach the elusive, like crazy number 30 of,
yeah.
you know, all that sort of stuff. Like it's the classic, like you're supposed to have everything figured out and blah, blah, blah. And like, while I do feel like I have a lot of stuff figured out, it's still so much of like now that personal life that I'm like, okay, this is where so much of my focus is going. So much of my time and energy is now going where 100% still focused on career. Absolutely. Like I want those things to grow. There's so much that I have not done, but I'm now, it's like now like the attention is now diverting to like, yeah, but this side of your life, you don't have figured out at all. And that kind of sucks, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
But I think that's, like, I've had to break this down in my head as you say it's a side of your life. And it may be non-existent now. It could exist in the future. Let's say, like, having a partner or a family could exist in the future, but it's okay that it doesn't exist now. It's not in your life now, therefore it can't be a side of your life now. So just enjoy where you are now. I said now so many times. But if that made any sense.
No, it did. It totally did.
That's what I've been trying to break down is, like, just, Lauren, you gotta stop just expecting it to happen. Like, one, you have to put effort, if it is a passion of yours, to be in a relationship or have a family. I should put some effort into it. Now, the effort that the world gives us, I guess, are dating apps, because now we're living in a COVID world, and dating apps for me, not the thing. I'm off of them. I don't want to be on them.
Dude, like, I'm so glad to hear somebody else say that.
I can't even be on them.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I can't even get past the uploading a picture phase. Like, I've tried it, and like when I'm choosing photos, I'm like, this feels gross.
It's simply just because I'm bored. When I'm on them,
Right.
It's just because I'm bored and I want to create a funny enough profile and then delete it 24 hours from now. Like, that's
Right.
always what happens. And I have to, like, tell myself, okay, yeah, you can put effort in, quote unquote, by getting on a dating app. But the more, I think, important effort is I just need to, one, love myself for who I am, accept that this is who I am, and I'm happy being who I am, and just going out, living my life normally. Like, I go to work, I see a ton of people at my job every day. I don't need to go anywhere to meet people, and I'm thankful for that. But sometimes it's like, I would rather go to my studio and not see people. So I get, like, the struggle of it, but yeah, it's easy for me to meet people at my job. It's just like I'm not going to be like, you want to go on a date? Like, I'm not going to do that at my job.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So the whole, like, dating side of things and social life, that is also where I am struggling. I feel like I am flourishing in my work life, and that's easy for me. And like you said, you're seeing your friends, like, flourish in their work life maybe, and it looks a little different than yours, and I can resonate with that too, I guess. Like, I have friends getting married, having children. I've had that for a long time. If you go to a Christian college, that happens while you're in school. They have children popping out. Like, people are getting married on the weekends. Like, it's very popular. So I had that pressure of, they said ring by spring. I know that's a common term elsewhere, but some people haven't heard it. There was always the pressure of getting a ring by spring, and if you don't, you're a bad Christian.
Okay.
That's just, like, what my mind interpreted it as. So I felt that guilt and the pressure of not having a partner after graduating college. And then after losing my partner, like, I didn't have a partner anymore. I was like, oh, now I'm really alone, and I'm really failing my university or my parents, you know. They got married young. My grandparents got married young. It seems like everybody in my family gets married young, and here I am. And that's where I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I'm looking back at family photos. I'm like, they got married then, they got married then. why am I not married? Why am I not having children? What's the deal? And it doesn't need, like, I don't need to have an answer. I think I have to accept that as, like, I don't need to have an answer. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's no set, schedule for anybody to have children or get married. Everybody is free to be their own person, however that looks, in whatever timeline that looks. And I mean, that's just what I have to repeat to myself every day. I'm not saying this with confidence, but it's like I have to tell myself, yeah, it's okay that you're not there. Honestly, I have to remind myself too, I am happy like where I am. It may suck sometimes, like it may suck just like the things that happen in life, like all the random breaking my glasses last week, like that's just the example I keep using. But those little things, the inconveniences that happen, can make me feel like, oh, I hate being alone. Like if there was a person here, it would make it so much better. But then I'm just like, I'm safe. I have a place to live. I love my job. Like I just start listing things. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm okay. Like it's fine. I can call the eye doctor tomorrow. Like it's fine.
Right.
I don't need a person to, tell me to do these things. I can do it myself. And so I'm working on being self-sufficient and not feeling like I need a partner. Still wanting one, eventually, but like. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like everything you just explained, I'm like, yeah, 100% the exact same.
Have you ever heard of the Enneagram?
Yes.
What do you know what you are?
I don't remember,
and
I've done it.
If you agree with everything I'm saying, I'm so curious as to what your number is.
It might be similar. I don't know. I feel like that randomly pops up when people are like, what is it? And I'm like, I've done it, and I for some reason didn't save it or didn't like. Oh, I don't remember.
I mean, go home and take the test. It's fine. It's a great thing. If you want, I'm not forcing you, obviously.
Of course. But so, like literally, so much of what you just said, like that is like straight up. I will be completely open and honest. Like I literally am like so many things that I experience, whether it's good or bad in life right now. Same thing where I'm like, I got this. I don't need somebody to be here for this in any way. Like I don't need a girlfriend here. But for me, I feel like where my head or emotions or whatever keeps going is like, it would just be nice to have somebody to share this with though.
Right.
Like to share this dumb thing that happened, to share this awesome thing that happened, because like that for me, like, again, it's like I intentionally, like a handful of years ago was like, I don't think I'm ready for a girlfriend right now. I want to focus on me and career and all this sort of stuff. Then eventually I'll get there. I think in my mind that eventually was like a long time from now. When really that eventually it's kind of caught up to now where I'm like, like if I were to identify like a part of my life that I do literally wish was different, I honestly think it's that. Like I really do think it's that, because that is like the lonely part of it. That is because it's like, yes, I can text friends and I can share, but that's like, it's just not the same.
Like it feels like a missing piece, but you don't want to say it's a missing piece because that makes it sound like I need this in order to,
It makes it sound like you're downloading every dating app and that you're like doing whatever it is of like, please, like some girl somewhere notice me. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and like, I feel like the way that I've like just tried to set up my life of like the people that I meet or the things that I do, I'm just hoping that I can be welcoming of that when it happens, of just like, oh, cool, this happened to show up in my life and now it's a thing. Because like, I don't want to force anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to go out of my way to go, I don't know, do something or go on a dating app or something and be like, hey, yeah, like, are you interested? Do I look interesting to you? Like, do I seem cool enough for you to want to hang out with? Like, I'd rather it just be like some natural thing that just happened. It's like, oh, we happen to be at the same place at the same time and now it's cool. Like, great. And it's like, there is a part of me that genuinely I feel like hates admitting that because I am so stoked about so many other things in life. But there's that one thing where I'm like, I sound like a 16-year-old. You know, I mean, like, oh, I wish I had a girlfriend. Like,
I'm so alone.
Because it's like I don't necessarily live my life being like, oh my God, I'm so alone. But there are a lot of moments where I'm like, damn, I'm like kind of alone.
Yeah.
Like kind of super alone.
But you have a pet? right?
I have a pet. I have a
So,
cat.
I have a dog.
At
So
least-
that's what we have. I
Yes,
guess, right now.
the pets are there to
They
hang
keep
out
us
with.
going.
Yes, I can let her know how I'm feeling. I'm like, listen, today was so hard
Yeah.
and this happened. And she's like, yeah, just if you haven't put the food out for me, like,
Just please handle that right
I
now.
really don't care. Like, I'll listen to you later, but just like if you could put the food, great, and then don't look at me. No, she's great. She's super friendly. But yeah, I don't know. In a weird way, like it's just refreshing to hear somebody else kind of say those things because again, so many of the examples that I feel like I have around me are all just people who are in relationships and have been forever and are having kids and all this sort of stuff. And yes, I can talk to them about that sort of stuff. You can talk to anybody about anything mostly. But I always just feel like even in feeling that, I feel like I'm alone. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, no one else feels this way. Everyone else has somebody they could date tomorrow.
Right.
And
Because you
it's
don't
like,
want to go on social media and just be like, nah, like, I'm so
no,
sad.
like,
Nobody-
yeah, like,
And I do that sometimes.
right,
But
right.
I try, I'm like, that's part of me wanting to be like authentic in my selling my artwork. Sometimes my artwork is really just, Lauren, you shut up. Like, you're fine. Like, you don't need to complain about this. But people don't know when they look at the piece, like, all the ungratefulness that went into it, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Because I definitely don't want to be ungrateful for what I have, or for not having something, maybe, is better way to put it. Because I am grateful, but it is frustrating some days.
Right. Yeah. No, that's definitely where I'm at with a lot of that stuff. Where I'm like, all right, cool. There's a lot of awesome stuff happening, but yeah, sharing that with somebody would be a nice thing to pop up at some point. But then again, I'm like, I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna. But then where my head goes is I'm like, where's the line between like not forcing it and then just not trying? Like, then do you miss the opportunity when it's just like, hey, I'm just gonna like, hey, I'm kind of interested in you. Do you want to hang out sometime? Like, I honestly feel like I've forgotten how to do that. Like,
I've never done that, so I can't do that. I
right,
feel like.
right. I literally, I feel like I don't know how to, like, if there was a moment where I was like gonna hit a girl up and be like, I am interested in you, let's hang out.
Do you feel like COVID had any, like, added any extra layer to that?
Maybe in the sense of like, maybe I wouldn't know if they would really want to hang out or something, or maybe like the distance that everyone's experiences added to that. But like, I don't know. I almost feel like mine started before that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like because I subconsciously, I mean, realistically, purposely, like, distanced myself from that so much and was like, no, you could do it without a girlfriend. You don't need a girlfriend. You don't need a relationship. Just go figure out how to be happy without it. That I feel like I pushed actually so hard on that level of things that now I'm sitting and I'm like, I have to try and piece this back together, like this machine of how to, like, not how to be in a relationship, because I feel like if one popped up and it became a thing, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is great. This is amazing. Because like, again, now, like, I know how to communicate so much clearer and so much better than I ever have before. I know how to like express emotion. I know how to, I don't know, just be a more confident person in general and be there for somebody else. You know what I mean? And not have that weird like reliance or anything like that, because I used to be that way. I used to be that person who was like, my girlfriend doesn't want to hang out with me this week. Oh, why not? And I wouldn't do anything about it. I would just quietly be like, why does she hate me?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I really need you to take the Enneagram because it sounds just like me. That is exactly how I was.
I will do it, and
just
I will
like
send
how
you the
you
results.
deal with relationships. Like, well, not necessarily how you deal with it, but man, that was me to a T. Like, irrational, so irrational, just not thinking things through. And now, yeah, like you're saying, I'm so much better now. Like, I'm such a catch now. not a catch, we'll say, but like, I'm just like more mentally healthy and just can be such like a much better partner now. Where are they at? That's really, it's like
literally 1,000,000%. Like, I had this conversation with a friend recently, and oddly enough, it was on this show. 'Cause every conversation I have with anybody that's private is actually just for this podcast. But she asked me, she was like, would you date you? Like that silly question.
I hate that
like,
question.
would you date you? And like, I kind of answered it skittishly, and I was like, oh, I mean, like, but I also I didn't want to sound like a douchebag and be like, well,
yeah, that's why it's such a hard question.
Like, yeah. But like, I, in a roundabout way, answered it. And then like, I thought about it afterwards, and like, as weird of a question as it is, I think my answer is yes. Because I feel so good about where I am now. And I don't mean in life of like, oh, I've got tons of money, or I'm like my cat's awesome. Like it's none of that. But it's more like, just like you were saying, like, I feel like I just know how to communicate now. I know how to express emotions. I know how to just do any list of things that would like make for a good relationship. I've never felt more equipped for those things than right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of me that's like, nah, you got that adult thing down. Like, you're good. Like, you formed into like the proper version of yourself that is now ready to keep growing, but now you're ready for these aspects. Where before, just like I said, like, I was that dude who was like, why doesn't she want to hang out with me? And oh my God, like, what does that mean? Like, when's she going to break up with me? And it turns out they always did. So like, I'm like, oh no. But that's always how I was. And like, I think back to that, like, that's so much of like when I was explaining earlier, of like, you think back to who you used to be and you're like, oh, like, I wish I could go back and change who that person was. But of course you don't want to, because it led you to where you are. But I think back to things like that and I'm like, dude, how could you not have just talked about that issue? You know what I mean? Like, okay, you were feeling that way, or this thing happened, instead of like, sort of, what's the word? Why can't I think of the word? Wow, I'm completely blanking on what the word is, but
I'm gonna try and help you. But
sort of.
I don't have anything to go off of.
like beating around the bush, like not just directly saying the way you're feeling.
Just being direct or forward. Yeah.
Yes, and just like learning to be direct and forward and just express like, this is how I'm feeling. This is why. What's this? What's that? Whatever. And again, anybody listening is like, dude, that's just growing up. Get over it. Like, totally. I understand that. But thinking back to that stuff, it still doesn't not make me cringe. And I'm like, dude, how did you not know how to talk to somebody?
Right.
Like,
I had to go through the experience. I think if I didn't have the bad relationship / bad communication experience, I wouldn't have learned that was bad to begin with.
Yeah.
I had somebody, like my first boyfriend, just shoved logical fallacies down my throat, of like, when he would catch me saying something that was maybe too emotional for the conversation we would have, or I'd bring up something that wasn't or didn't have anything to do with the current conversation because I was so in my emotions. Like, if we were having just a hard conversation, never a fight, just a hard conversation, and I would become emotional, he would immediately try to correct it. And that is what began my process of trying to learn how to communicate better, even though the way it was done was abusive in a way and just not loving. So once I had all of that, like, shoved down my throat for 3 years, leaving that and having conversations with other people, I started realizing, like, oh, that was illogical to say. Maybe you shouldn't put all of your emotions into your conversations. Maybe you should, like, step back and think logically and not completely with your heart and partially with your head. Like, I feel like I've had a lot of trial and error with that, and still do, definitely still do. But yeah, 6-7 years ago, I was very irrational in my communication, and like confronting things was very hard. And yeah, definitely kicked myself. Like, why couldn't you talk about that? Like, it was such an easy conversation. Now I have to confront, people at my job. I'm a manager. I have to have those conversations now. So that comes easier now. So yeah.
I think it's also super important to like know that you've learned those things from those past relationships. You know what I mean? Like something that I feel like I've realized recently that is very stupid to say, and like a very like 16-year-old emo thing to say, I feel like, is like, I don't feel like, this is so stupid to say. I'm going to publicly, it's going to be recorded forever on this podcast. So hopefully no one else thinks it's that stupid. I feel like I've never actually been in a real relationship. And I say that not to like downplay, you know, like any past girlfriend I've had or anything, like totally been like head over heels in love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely. But when I look back at what each relationship had and the issues and the problems and the like, oh, that was really bad actually for this reason. And you were kind of just blinded by being in love and it actually wasn't healthy at all. I look back at like any of those relationships and I'm like, in a weird way, they were almost all like not really relationships in a weird way. Like what I'm saying is like, I feel like I just haven't, for me personally, I clearly have experienced relationships, but I'm like, I don't feel like I've actually just experienced a real relationship. There's always been some weird black cloud over it that's made it like not really the thing you would look for. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, like this girlfriend never wanted to hang out, so I would see her 2 times a month. But I was like, wow, we're so in love. This is incredible. And she's like, yeah, we're in love like when I feel like it. And I'm like, that's great. Do that, you know? And then now I sit and I'm like, oh, that taught me something pretty unhealthy about like that actually wasn't a good relationship. Yeah. I was looking at the good parts when they were good, but then all the bad parts are like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? Like neither of you communicated well. Neither of you, because it's not all on them. It's a lot on me for not identifying any of that sort of stuff. But that's like, even now as I sit, I'm like, that's like the other interesting part for me in wanting a relationship as who I am now is, yes, it's about the like, oh, it'd be awesome to find an amazing girl and fall in love and just like share this amazing life. But I'm also like, I'm almost excited to experience what I feel like a real relationship should be. Right. The good parts and the bad parts. Like this might be really dumb to say, but like I'm excited to like talk through a problem.
I feel like that's a very healthy place to be though. I feel like that shows you that you are ready for a relationship, like you said. It's like you're willing to put in the work, not just the good times, but like the hard times. I don't know why that is exciting. Like to be a healthy individual wanting to deal with like, let's deal with the hard stuff. Like why is that exciting? Like let's be an adult and deal with the hard stuff. Right. Because I do look forward to that, like one day, to hopefully, you know, have a partner that is so, like we're so in tune, hopefully, with each other that we're like, okay, this is a problem, let's deal with it. How are we going to figure it out? And being able to develop I don't know what to call it, but just to be known by somebody, I guess is all it is known so well that you know, like, okay, we need to deal with this, we need to talk about this, and to love somebody so much that, like, I don't know, you want to put in all the time working on things and yeah. I could go on.
This became a how-to relationship podcast, apparently. Yes. But yeah, I don't know. It is all of those things.
Definitely don't ask me how to relationship.
I mean, truthfully, don't ask me either, because I just sat and was like, I've never really been in one. All of mine were fucking crazy and weird. I don't know, like, you know, whatever. So I don't know the answer. Now I just know how to like, I don't know, I know how to talk to people. So I'm banking on that fact of like, maybe if I talk enough, a girl will be like, I want to hear you talk more. Do you want to hang out sometime? Yeah. And then I could just sit and be like, wow, it actually worked. Well, before we end up talking about relationships for the next 2 hours, because I feel like it's just going to rabbit hole down that. We'll kind of start to wrap up. And the final kind of things that like, and I kind of asked you this earlier, but you know, we've talked so much about like the personal work that you're doing on yourself and your personal life and identifying all these things. And obviously the growth with career and art and everything else. Like, I feel like I kind of asked you this earlier, but is there like a pie in the sky goal that you're like, yo, this is like the life that I'm aiming for? Or is it just like, yeah, one day at a time and whatever fits?
Not really art related, but I guess it is art related. I would love to eventually make it to a point where I can support myself and not have a studio in a studio space. So my goal earlier that I talked about was having a bigger studio in this space. That is like my next goal, but like the bigger one would be to have my own house where I can have that space and have enough clients where I don't have to have the exposure, like being in 400. So that is the ultimate goal, and it is a day-to-day type thing where I do have to take it, one step at a time, and maybe I'll get there, maybe I won't. It's fine. But I've had my own studio in my house before, but I just didn't have the clients. I needed to put my art out there first for it to be seen, to get my people and my following, I guess, and to be able to make it to a place where I'm comfortable enough with not even like a following, because it's not about a following. I'm more interested in like the people in real life that I'm meeting. I'm definitely thankful for my followers, I will say that, but it's so important for me to meet those people and have those conversations, and for them to come to a bigger space, like my own gallery. In my head, I'm envisioning this like house on the beach, and that will never happen. I already know that it will never happen. You
can't make a house on like one of the Ohio beaches.
Ohio beaches! I couldn't live on an Ohio beach. It's better than like city, I guess, but no. In like my dream house is like all white and neutral colors, and which is funny because my paintings are so wild, and then you just go into the next room and there's my wild paintings, and I bring my clients in there and I show them my work, and maybe they leave with something, maybe they don't. Another dream I've thought about is having a storefront type thing, maybe a gallery. I do picture that being with someone else, whether it be like a friend or a future partner. Like, I love doing things with other people, so if there's a person that has like a building that they're like, I want to make this into something really cool, I'll be like, all right, I'll hop on board. Let's do something. To be financially stable enough to make those decisions would be awesome.
Yes.
Right now, not so much.
Right. The goal of any artist ever.
Right.
Like, I would just love to just have some money. Yeah. Not all of it. Not all of it. Just some.
Some to live.
Just
to live.
Could I just do stuff? I see people taking vacations and stuff, and I'm like, I just kind of want to be able to buy Chipotle one extra time a week.
Like I drove to Hocking Hills. That was my vacation.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. So do you feel like, is there anything that you're like, dude, we didn't even uncover this part of my life?
There's so much we could uncover, but we don't have to. No, that sounds scary.
Right. Have you murdered anyone?
No.
Like that's
my old self.
You know what? That's fair. I like that. I'm waiting for one day when I have somebody on here where I'm like, because I always like to check, right. Hey, did we miss a chunk of your story that you'd really like to talk about?
I always like to check to see if someone murdered someone.
Yes, I'm waiting for. I honestly would love that. I'd be so stoked.
There was this one time.
If someone we didn't talk about the person I killed, and I'm like, all right. This just became a different type of podcast. Yeah. It's now a true crime podcast. Wild. I'm in.
And those are really the only podcasts that I've listened to are the true crime ones.
Oh, yeah. They're a blast.
I love them.
So, yeah, maybe I could get some more viewership on this show if I started interviewing. I mean, that would be interesting to interview a murderer, honestly. That's terrible.
I wouldn't want you to be alone in this room with the murderer.
That's fair. Maybe you can come be like my studio help that day. Like, I'll just be like, hey, Lauren, I have a murderer on the podcast today.
Sit in the corner with my knife.
Come hang out. Yeah. Show them that you're also a murderer. Yeah. Dude, I think that's, if there's anything to make a murderer comfortable, it's you show them that there's another one in the room.
Yes. I'm just like you.
They're like, who is she? And I'm like, possibly future you. I don't know. Maybe a future murderer. But just ignore that. Let's talk about your story. Okay, so murders aside, maybe there's another day we dive into anything we didn't talk
Definitely
about.
Definitely not.
But so I have one last question.
Go for it.
So I wrap up every episode of this the exact same way. in the exact same question. So right now, I want you to pretend like this is going to put some pressure on. Okay?
Oh.
I want you to pretend like everyone in the world is able to hear you speak right now. So you have a live
Just like throw up.
Everyone's like, do you hear vomiting? God? Is that what? Like, there's just vomit happening? I chime in. I'm like, hey, guys, sorry, that was Lauren.
Yep.
She got really nervous.
Yeah, lots of people.
Said something about murdering people in the future, and then she vomited. I don't know. She ran out of the studio into the dark. So I want you to pretend like everyone everywhere is listening to you and can hear you right now. You have a live mic attached to them, and you get to share something with them. So knowing that everybody's listening, what is it that you want them to hear?
Oh, wow. There is a lot. I feel like I could say a lot.
You can say as much as you make it another hour. Give a whole hour's worth of speech.
I feel like it wouldn't necessarily be just a comment. Like, something that always comes to mind is you are enough. Like, I want people to know that they are enough and that they should never feel like they aren't. That is important, but I feel like I would rather... I just want to know if everybody is okay. This is just what my mind is picturing right now, is everybody that I've ever known, or just everybody in general?
Everybody in general.
Everybody in general.
Including the people that you've ever known.
Okay. I feel like... I'd want to leave them with a question, to just like a mic drop question.
I love it.
But I don't know what type of question. Maybe not a question. I don't know. This is a big question. It is a lot of pressure to think about, like, what I want all people to know. Is that, okay, what I would want to be told, maybe, by any random person, is that it's not always about being understood, or that if that's your life goal, is to be understood, to not just look for another one, but like, I don't know, because I spend so much of my time worrying about being misunderstood by others. And I could just say, like, hey, everybody, just don't care about what people think of you, you know? It's not that easy. It's not that easy. I think about what every single person thinks of me, even if I think they are an awful human being. I still care way too much about what people think of me. But yet I can, sit here and tell the whole entire world, or whoever is listening, that you don't need to care about what people think, because honestly, I am happier at the end of the day when I have lived my life throughout that day, that specific day, whatever it is I'm doing. I am asking myself, like, am I safe? Am I happy? Am I finding joy in this moment? And if I'm able to answer those questions, I've had a good day. Like, if I'm able to say, like, yes, I've been safe. Yes, I found joy in this. I found peace in this. I'm okay. I don't need to be misunderstood. I would like to be, but I don't know. That's just something that came to mind.
I love it. I love it.
Hopefully that made sense.
No, that's great. The slow clap begins around the world now, and everyone roars into
goodness.
applause.
I'm so sorry, guys, if you didn't like it.
Yeah. Everyone in the world's listening to me right now. Can I just apologize for the fact that they're hearing me right now? I'm so sorry, everyone. I thought about puking, but instead I'm just going to apologize. No, that was great. That was wonderful. Lauren, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you, Ross. Really, thank you.
I'm so glad that we got to meet and make this happen.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm stoked that you were like literally wanting to do a podcast and make it happen, and somehow it aligned.
This was just, everything that I'd want it to be. Like,
how was this for like a first podcast?
Definitely awesome. Great. 10 out of 10 experience, everyone.
Wow. See, leave that type of rating and review online, so then everybody else knows that too. For real, I cannot thank you enough. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you for however long we've been talking now.
Right back at ya,
I'm definitely going to go take that test because
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel
the
like
Enneagram, yeah.
I feel like 99.9% of everything you said.
Okay, I'm a 4. That's the number
Okay.
that I would assume you are, just because 1, you're creative, 1, you're or 2, you're emotional, and that's really all you need to know is
That's
a
it.
creative,
That's
emotional
it.
person.
That's essentially the test
Yes.
just now. You just gave me the test.
I just gave you the
live.
test.
That's
It's just
it.
you're going to spend like 15 minutes later just to find out that you're a 4. But reading about it, I feel like I got a lot of just like really cool bits and pieces from that test that helped me understand other people. So like knowing other people's numbers is really helpful, and that's why I like those tests. I definitely don't like being put in a box myself, but personality tests, I try not to do that. But it is helpful understanding others and how they work. And
Yeah.
that's why I love throwing it in conversations.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to let you know, and we're going to get
Yes.
to the bottom of it. Exactly.
Love it.
Seriously, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
It's like, this was such a fun conversation. We talked about so much stuff that I've like never really talked about on the
Awesome.
podcast.
Well,
So
I'm
I
glad.
love that.
I was worried that we were talking about the same stuff. I didn't know.
No. This was a
Awesome.
blast. This is a strange thing to say, but I feel like this conversation was like everything that I felt like it was going to be. Like, I feel like you have proven me correct that even though we were just strangers on the internet and I was just like, oh, she seems like a cool person, you've proven that to be true.
Aw,
You
yay.
seem like an absolutely just like wonderful person. I say seem like we didn't just talk for
Right.
multiple hours. You're a wonderful person. You make wonderful
Thank you so
things.
much.
I love so much of your outlook and understanding on life in general. You're wonderful. This was a
Yes.
blast.
Thank you so much.
We did it.
And thank you, everyone who's listening.
Yes, the entire world
Yeah.
is
Oh.
listening. We did it, dude. Okay, fun conversation. We talked about so many different things. We went a little bit of everywhere, and I really appreciate that Lauren shared as much as she did. You know, at this point in doing the show, I've gotten to meet a lot of people for the first time on a quote-unquote deeper level, given what we often end up talking about. And even though it's happened many times up to this point, I'm always super thankful every single time it happens that somebody is willing to really tell their story and open up and share the things that they do. So again, a huge thank you to Lauren for being on the show, and to be down in general to share those sort of things and have this actually be her first podcast ever. So it was an absolute blast. So be sure to go check out her amazing work for real. It's so cool. You can find her at Lauren Ashleigh B. If you need to know how that's spelled and how it looks in the @ handle and all that good stuff, it'll of course be linked in the show notes and all the posts about this episode. So it'll be there for you to find. So be sure to toss her a follow, check out her work. And I mean, if you want some badass art, some rad paintings, go buy something from her. But make sure to go and support in some way. And if that's not enough for me to ask of you, you can also, of course, support me and this show by hopping over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, toss us a rating and a review, subscribe while you're there. If that's not enough, hop over to Spotify, find the follow button, tell it you want to hire it for some creative work, and then when it tells you its price, smash its dreams by offering to pay it in experience instead. But please do all of at least some of those things for me. I would seriously appreciate it a ton. You can also apparently leave a rating on Spotify now, a little star rating. I don't know, folks. Every single site has every single thing on it. So I'm just asking, go to all the sites, do all the things, as if you didn't need more distractions or apps to go and visit in your day. Here I am, begging for more of your attention. Also follow us at WYDH Pod around social. Okay, that's it. That is another fun episode in the books. Let's close this one. So thanks for listening. Thanks for looking. And as always, I'll be back next episode with a brand new guest that you may or may not know of as they share their story that you for sure never heard.